Welcome back to the Order of Twats. Alright, so we talked over one specific moment in the previous part that I would like to mention while Galahad takes his sweet time getting to places. Oh, hold on, actually I think cutscene now, so I'll wait.
Yeah, we're about to get to, I think the
Hastings.
The head part of a blimp.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this, God, this... Let's just say this part, this cuts kind of like this cutscene makes no sense in hindsight. That's all I'll say for now.
Wait, Lucan is on board.
But what could this mean?
Also, just want to check. Given that his
And Lord
name is
Hastings
Lucan-
too. Go on.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask, without spoiling. Given that his name was Lucan, did anyone else pretty much get an idea of what might happen just based off of a name alone?
I don't know what you're guessing, so I'm not gonna answer.
Okay, Lucan is similar to Lycan. And what is it that the Order deals with?
Lycans.
To be fair, Jova, it's not going through that direction.
Oh, I know that, but I was still able to kind of more or less guess what was gonna happen off of the name.
Anyway, let's see what we can do. So, basically, apparently, the rebels are planning to murder Lord Hastings.
Oh no.
So you would think Lucan's there to prevent that, right?
Well, yeah. Well, you can make. Yeah.
Right.
Well, to be fair, you can just make an argument that Lucan is just acting as Lord Hastings' bodyguard.
Again, though, the fact that they didn't know prior, though, is what shows that
Yeah,
something's
that's what.
up.
Yeah, true. All right. So,
Alright, time to use that fancy sniper rifle that Tesla showed us before.
indeed. Okay. So here's the basic idea. We have to try to find any guards that may be rebels in disguise. The way to do it is to make sure that they to see if they have the proper patches that the real uniforms are supposed to have. I don't understand why apparently the rebels kind of suck, because you'd think they would get uniforms that have that important patch, but I guess not.
I suppose they have limited
All kinds of
resources
turn.
and can only afford.
Okay, so
some.
this guy's a patch.
Right,
So this guy's a patch. So this guy's cool.
Check the remaining cards.
That's not that.
Hey, morons! What if one of the women is part of the rebels? Did you think of that?
Keep searching.
I mean, we will later figure out that there are women in
Yeah,
the rebels.
there are.
So, again, why are they only suspecting the men?
That guy's alright.
And how exactly do you know that the rebels are disguised as guards?
I think it was mentioned either in the dialogue or something that we intercepted before.
I guess I must have missed it.
There's a
Oh, this guy has no patch, so this guy's a rebel in disguise. There you go.
Make sure you check them all.
That was the last one.
Good.
Okay,
Only
so basically we have two rebels among in this room.
So,
Oh,
Weapon loaded.
We have two
Alright.
rebels among us.
yes.
yoink.
There you go.
One remaining.
One remaining.
Don't be alarmed,
All right, I want you guys to pay attention to this bit here. I want you guys to pay attention to this bit here. See,
Have you cleared the
this rebel was about to murder Lord Hastings. Keep that in mind for later.
Get Hastings out now! Get him out of here!
God.
Hastings got away! I need backup! Everyone move to plan B! Percival, the mark is down. Rebels incoming. I need support now.
Understood. We'll converge on you.
Go. There's your support.
Okay,
Go with many blessings. Go on, Pedro.
Okay, so there was a moment in the previous part that we talked over where Galahad talked to Lord not Lord Perceveal, sorry, and it was something about potentially, look, do you know something? Like, because basically Galahad was trying to ask him, what are you doing? Who was that person that you were talking to? And he said, and I quote, I will tell you one day when the time is right. Hey Teo, want to know how to keep a plot point in suspense? And without spoiling anything, let's just say you will not be getting that answer in this game. Or ever, probably, because, well, yeah, we have yet to get a sequel for this thing, no matter how much the fan base demands one.
And look, all power to the fan base, to those of you who do enjoy this game. That being said, there's a reason that the actual outcry for a sequel is not nearly as big as, say, something like Mega Man Legends 3, because as nice as it would be to get these plot points, you know, wrapped up, I'm gonna be honest, by the end of the game, I just didn't care.
Me
It
neither.
was over and never looked back. And you know, that is a problem when, despite having sequel hook upon sequel hook, a game has just lost you to the point where you don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's also worth noting that, like I hinted also previously, this, in terms of setting, while fairly original when it comes to Sony properties, this is not too different from pre-existing IP, but again, I will mention it only towards the end of the game where it becomes more relevant in talking about it in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it to hell.
Okay. The primary thing people like, that's the thing about it, like, the primary argument that I've seen from watching various YouTube reviews of various people when it comes to this game, the primary thing people really seem to love about this game is the setting, which, again, okay, I will agree with you there. I will agree with you there. The setting is pretty cool. A Victorian steampunk London, sure, why not? The whole concept of an order of Knights of the Round Table fighting supernatural beings, sure, that sounds like a cool concept for a video game. And the interesting thing is that I've seen quite a few reviews that genuinely praise the characters, like in terms of, I really love these characters, they're so cool and interesting, and I'm like, really? I mean, I just don't see it personally, because in terms of basic character writing, this game fails at so many levels. Let's look at Lady Igraine, for example. Lady Igraine, aside from just being your generic strong woman who needs no man, as that one scene at the beginning of the game clearly demonstrated, there's literally nothing else to her, and let's just say I don't like the direction the game takes with her character later by the end of this.
Let me put it like this, I do get the inkling that a lot of this comes down to character interpretation, maybe some people see these characters as deep due to the flaws that we see in them, which, like I said, more power to you, but that did not turn out to be the general consensus. I say that because I'm pretty sure if it were the general consensus, we'd have heard way more people talking this game's praises than actually was the case. And okay, you know what? This isn't to say that the majority is always in the right. That being said, let's get this down to brass tacks here. The characters are not really that endearing or enjoyable. Galahad's an anti-theist, which makes absolutely no heckin' sense given his background here.
Even in general, Jova, again, his most characterization of what you can say is that, he's lawful good, in terms of alignment, which in itself is not a problem, but it's taken to such an oatmeal bland kind of way here.
Yeah.
Let me put it like this. He's the kind of boring good you think people mistake Superman for, essentially.
Yeah. That's that being said, that's not even the worst part. The worst part for me in terms of the characters in this game is the fact that here we have yet another idiot plot. It's not as obvious right now, but trust me, after this part, that's where this stuff starts to become really apparent. This is a plot the only reason this plot even happens to begin with is because the characters are morons. And I'm not just talking about the main characters. Let's just say, by the time this game is over, pretty much everybody comes across as a complete idiot.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, we've already seen a good dose of idiocy in the plot here. Now, and that's not even counting I'm gonna be generous and call it gameplay and story segregation, But if I'm to be honest, I really feel like the developers just absolutely forgot that the Knights have certain gadgets that should be able to help them, but blatantly forgot. But let's chalk it up to gameplay story segregation, which, again, could be even worse in some regards, since, like I mentioned, it pads the game out here. Again, we have an organization as clear and, on top of things as the Knights should be, and yet, let's be honest, a lot of things run absolute laps around these guys. Now, granted, sometimes there is a...
Nope. Did the lighting engine crap out?
What the bloody hell was that?
Phoenix!
Well, actually, this is Victorian London, so it would be Ryozuki who's thinking.
There's a rebel commander
Right.
on board. It's the woman from Whitechapel. I'm in pursuit.
Hey, like I meant, look at that! A woman is part of the rebels! Could it be possibly
Yes, that's Lakshmi.
in addition to the guards describing the... Yes,
That's actually
Lakshmi.
another historical figure brought into the mix.
Yeah, Lakshmi. That's a good point that you just brought up. Okay, but I'll let Joe finish his point first. Go on.
It's like, oh gee, look, a woman is part of the rebels. It's almost like we should have considered the possibility that there could be another.
Or hell, the
But
fact,
I
or
digress.
hell, the fact that they might not. For all we know, there could be rebels who are not dressed as guards. I mean, not
That being
we
said,
don't.
though-
We can't tell for sure that all of them are dressed like that. In fact, as we just saw, Lakshmi isn't.
And yeah, that is Lakshmi, although technically she should be dead, given how her whole rebellion against the British led to her
Oh, that.
Again,
death in
That's the thing,
there is
Joe.
actually
To be
a
fair,
story reason for that, believe it or not.
yeah, they're actually. Remember, this is an alternate take on history. Like
Again, it's
stuff
not-
happened
it's not-
differently.
It's not too different from Captain Nemo working with the British government in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
That being said, too, there is one use of an historical figure in this game that is flat out moronic. I'm okay with Nikola Tesla being here, whatever. He's basically just the Q of the order, whatever, fine, it works. But the way they handle Marquis, aka General Lafayette, is all wrong. Because remember, for those who don't know, Lafayette was lived through 2 revolutions, meaning he fought both the British and the Americans.
Actually, the French.
Oh, sorry, the French and the Americans. Sorry, the French. I'm talking. I was thinking of the name of the revolution, the American Revolution. The point is that he fought both the French and the British. So, and there's going to be a point later on where he acknowledges having fought those two people, when going for those 2 revolutions. So we know that part of the real Lafayette is still here in this version. So, and which begs the question: why is Lafayette working with an order that's tied to the British government?
This does also go back to my issue with Lakshmi. It's like, well, okay, so that thing with Lafayette did actually happen that way, which leads me to believe that technically a lot of world events did still occur as they happened. Because, okay, with Nikola Tesla, nothing's... Okay, granted, he always wanted to go to England, but never really apparently did get to go there, so I guess we can say that for the sake of this context, he actually did, but it was in secret. Fair, but okay, if we're to believe events that happened were, and granted, maybe the idea was going to be that Lakshmi faked her death, or again, she's a supernatural being or something, it can get a bit confusing. Let me put it like this. I feel like this game suffers a bit of a similar issue to the Beauty and the Beast live-action remake. Mind you, I still like that movie, but the issue was that the movie couldn't decide how much of it wanted to just be a clear fairy tale foreign land, or something that obviously happened in real life because it had a lot of real-life events tied to it and whatnot. I feel like this game has that problem more in spades here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, let's get back to chasing these rebels.
At the very least, Galahad decided to remember we can actually sprint.
Is there going to be a twist where it turns out, oh no, we've been working with the bad guys?
Don't worry, dudes, it's not like that show that has that skit with the Nazis say, "Are we the baddies?"
I've lost the mark. I'm maintaining pursuit.
Negative. Regroup on the lifeboats. We have a bigger problem. The rebels have a second device on board.
fuck.
Of course they do.
A second bomb. Okay, fine. Let's get it.
Oh, hey, they have a backup, so,
Bloody hell.
That chase was pointless.
Yep.
Bye.
Basically evacuating all the passengers.
Your mission to Whitechapel was to remain covert. I have received word of numerous casualties and reports of destruction to the London hospital. And now this!
I intend to stand by my word. I alone will assume responsibility.
Didn't we
for all the
technically
consequences
save
of
your
any
life, asshole?
The thing is, it still caused a problem towards the Order. Remember that the entire operation was essentially... Like, the idea behind this is that if Knights of the Order are doing whatever the fuck they want instead of respecting what the Order actually dictates, then what's the point of...
As you're going to see later, Jova, the Lord Chancellor is much more interested in seeing his knights follow orders rather than actually doing the right thing, it seems.
Yeah.
Figures. But you know what? That's not a bad idea for a plot. You know,
I'll wait until this bit is over to mention it.
you will follow my orders or I will fucking kill all you.
We should find Lafayette and get off this ship. Your brother charged me to bring you back safely. Do this
Rough.
for me.
So yeah, Izzy's the one who's going to get Lafayette out. So that's what happens. In the meantime,
Bye.
so we have to take down the remaining
We need
rebels.
weapons. There's a guard station nearby. We can avail ourselves of the company's arms.
Okay, let's get ourselves some weapons. Find the rebel saboteurs.
Again, similar to a game like, say, Tactics Ogre, Let Us Scream Together, for example, the plot here is trying to explore the concept of the fact that something lawful might not necessarily always be good by, intrinsic. It's not mutually exclusive by that. And that in itself is a noble, interesting way of storytelling. But puts complexity in terms of how the character reacts to a situation, what kind of plot you can deal with that, and how nothing is always black and white on that front. So that I don't have a problem with.
Yeah, true.
Yes,
The classic logic versus reason sort of plot here.
Also that, because it's not even as immediate as say, oh, because someone lawful is doing bad thing, that means that everything lawful is bad. No. The human psyche and reasoning is to find actually a balance between actually these factors, in terms of our morality and our, placing faith in actual ordered figures and stuff.
Notice, by the way, how I had to wait for Perceval to open that door because I actually was running, unlike him, who was walking slowly. So I had to wait for him.
It's like in
Even when you
Homefront,
can
where you
run,
have to
the
wait for
game's...
the NPC to open
Even
a
when you
door.
can run, the game finds a way to slow things down.
Alright, that's it. Let's hear this.
Agamemnon Crew Instructions and Training Manual, Chapter 3. Evacuation Procedures.
Okay, this one's actually good and ties in with the environment that we're in, sort of them running a drill for what to do in the
I'm
case like
starting
this.
to get flashbacks, Mojova, to the Star Wars Holiday Special, where we need this audio log to hear about the safety procedure for evacuating the airship.
In the event of a ship-wide evacuation,
Like, call me crazy, but that nursery rhyme that still talks about the Knights of the Round Table and and the Nimue still honestly makes more sense to be an extra than this.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess it depends on your point of view with this. I feel like this one at least is nice and quirky enough. Like, it's something that ties enough to the environment that it feels like something that's extra to flesh out the world, but it feels at least connected enough, and I get where
they
they're
played
coming
with
from.
this concept, like say one of the safety, the safety vessels accidentally, got destroyed because someone did not follow this procedure. So he's like, oh, that's what they should have done. This is ironic, but no, it's not even done that.
I think we can agree that regardless, none of these, recorded calls are really riveting.
No,
Even
it's the
when
same
they do
problem I
tie
have.
in, they're just...
I heard better the audio logs. in
Yeah,
general.
it's the same problem I have with the audio logs in Quantum Break. You have to pause the game so you can listen to them, and the rambling goes on and on and on. They always mention it
Okay.
very slow. Like I really wish they would have done something akin to the tapes in Phantom Pain, where instead of being exposition, it's just it's an actual conversation. I feel like conversations would make things a bit more fun to listen to.
Usually, as a rule of thumb, I often compare games like these to how well they handle their audio logs to the game that may not have created audio logs, but definitely, energized them, definitely kicked it into overdrive. BioShock. Again, I don't know if BioShock was the first game to do it. I don't think it was, but I know it was definitely the game that popularized it in gaming. Again, the audio logs there are great. They have a wide range of emotion and great audio design that really can give you an idea like you're right there. And they tie in so well with showing the world of Rapture, showing how Rapture fell apart. And in a bout of dark comedy, there's even a bout where this dickhead scientist is torturing a girl and ends up getting stabbed right through the head by a Big Daddy for it. And yes, you do get that audio log off of his dead corpse. My point being is again, if you're being outdone by one of the earliest games to do it, there is a clear showing that you may not have been well up to the task.
Indeed.
I mean, honestly, though, let's be honest. Maybe if this game were good, we wouldn't be ragging on the audio logs as much, because they're kind of like the tip on the top of the crap sundae.
Also, Job, I don't know if it was the first game that did it as well. It's probably easy that someone did it, but remember, BioShock itself is the spiritual successor instead to System Shock, and the second game to that did have audio logs before the first BioShock.
Okay. I haven't played System Shock, so how were the audio logs in that game?
Like you said, the show are technically in the second game, but hold on.
Right, System Shock 2.
Okay. They show up mostly in System Shock 2, and again, they're done exactly as you described would be in BioShock. That franchise took inspiration from, System Shock in order to transpose it into it. But I don't remember if they were done even sometimes before that. One article from Jam Bombs talks also about the Fatal Frame series, which, I think it had it. And Doom 3, but I think that one was released after System Shock 2. Apparently, it also does mention that the Lunar and Chrono series do that as video logs, but honestly, I don't remember. Okay, I think Chrono Cross might have one. That's kind of a stretch calling.
As for Lunar,
but,
I mean, you might have like one or maybe even two maximum, but I wouldn't really consider that a feature necessarily.
Yeah, I was about to ask if you are more the expert on Lunar. So, roughly, the idea is that in terms of general placement, let's say the generation of consoles that included the PS2, the GameCube, and the original Xbox.
So I've looked it up. Apparently, System Shock was the first video game to be well known for using audio logs as a way of telling the plot. So, again, I guess it could have been System Shock that started it all. Or at the very least, it was the first well-known game of it. So.
That was because, again, similar to BioShock, you are basically dropped into an environment where almost everyone is dead. So if you want to rely on any kind of... And your protagonist is silent. So if you want to rely on any kind of narrative, you need to construct it with the things that you find. Again, kind of also sort of similar to Dark Souls in a way, but... Comparably, Dark Souls still has a lot of NPCs that you can talk with and gain information about. System Shock kept things to a minimum. It's mostly, at least for the first game, it was just you and Shodan being a bitch towards you.
I think Siri's most familiar with System Shock out of us, I think.
We should ask her that.
She's played System Shock, eh?
I think she has anyway.
Probably the second, because I get the idea that the first is basically a kaleidoscope of different colors, sometimes coercive or jumbled mess. So I do wonder if it actually was her experience or not. But again, we should ask her definitely. Yes, Pedro, go on.
like another thing that I did find out for research while researching this game while recording was that apparently. Like if you go to Ready at Dawn's website and Rio, the creator of this game, Rio, whatever the second name is, it's hard to pronounce. The creator of this game, and he's also the creator of also the CEO of Ready at Dawn. He's still there doing the usual stuff. Yeah. And if you go to Ready at Dawn's website, it says that they're apparently. They were preparing a AAA third-person console title, even though they're Facebook owned.
Because again, even in general, they've been releasing. In case you need to know, they've been releasing mostly VR titles ever since this game, if I recall correctly.
I get that too.
No, I was about to mention. So this is why what you just said there is a bit unusual, because they don't really seem like they will be doing that.
Because remember, when it comes to the VR stuff, it's the Echo franchise that they have right now, which is something involving some kind of supernatural thing. I haven't actually looked into it.
If I remember correctly, they did mention that after, like, what was that, 5 years of service, they were discontinuing the multiplayer Echo that they had.
The VR one, the VR one specifically.
Create a new title.
Basically, what happened was on the website they said that they're working on Echo related stuff. And a AAA console title in third person, which the interesting thing is that a lot of Order fans are hoping that that's the sequel to the Order. However, of course, I'm not really going to hold my breath, because honestly.
And I will be questioning in terms of priorities. Then again, apparently a remake of the first Horizon Zero Dawn is supposedly in development as well. So I don't even know what's real anymore at this point.
All right.
I mean, we're in a world
I'll just wait
where
any announcement and see what happens.
Oh. Here, Grayson, can you get through? I think so. Look out!
Oh,
well,
gee,
it looks like we're separated from our partner.
See what that happens.
Are you tired of this happening to you?
Too close for comfort.
Well, come on over and play anything else, really.
There must be another way.
There's got to be a better way.
Okay.
I mean, okay, I'll be honest. Here's the issue I have.
It's not that they're doing the cliches, it's that they're not doing them really well.
If I may, here's an issue I have with these bits. What does it really change, aside from the fact that we don't have a goddamn idiot of an AI partner with us? Like, we've seen that they are basically useless.
Yeah.
So, this really changes nothing as far as I'm concerned in the story.
Basically.
It is one of those cases where the gameplay really does screw up the story in that regard. Oh, look at this photograph.
Every time it makes me laugh.
I love how the game just had I love how the game just had say Galahad, stay on the mark. Like, I love how the game just told me off for checking the collectible it put there for me to check out. Like,
how weird.
Oh, this bit. Oh, God. Okay, so this is where the game introduces the armored enemies that have fucking shotguns. Like Dark Legend was in his review, these enemies are fucking annoying because they can practically one-shot you. And they take a shit ton of bullets to kill because of their armor.
How did the rebels manage to snag them inside?
I don't know, too. There he is. There you go, see? This guy. Notice how he has a helmet, but it doesn't look like his chest is armored, so I have to wonder why. Oh, is it?
Gee, it's like the desaturation of the colors makes it very difficult to distinguish the clothing of the fucking characters. Oh,
yeah.
Damn it.
What? I have to ask, what were they thinking? Or better yet, were they thinking?
What were they thinking? Where's the saturation of the colors?
Die, Jesus.
My ass?
Please die.
Okay, I guess if you look close enough, there's a bit of reflection which suggests there might be armor, but no, I'm sorry, you would not be able to tell in the heat of the moment.
I really get the feeling, considering his facial structure and his overall hairstyle and everything, and not to mention the kind of performance the voice actor is going for. We'll let you know. I'll wait till this is back before I mention it. Carry on.
I mean, oh god, like, it's like I said, the game for the most part might as well be on autopilot, except for when it decides to throw in fake difficulty. Because no, I don't find this to be fair.
Oh, trust me, if you think that it's bad, wait till we get to the final shootout of the game. The final shootout of the game is fucking bullshit. See, the thing is, okay, okay, I will be fair. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I totally forgot about the black sight mechanic. If you remember what it is, that's the bullet time that freezes your time. I'm not even kidding you. I genuinely forgot I had it, so that's my bad, to be fair. So I could have used that to make my life easier, but still, damn, the final shootout of this game is basically operates the same way that Quantum Break ups its difficulty by throwing a shit ton of enemies all at once, all with powerful weapons in armors that makes them damage sponges, and it's annoying.
Okay, in your favor, the issue with the black side is it's one of those mechanics where you might forget about it because there's never really any moment where the game absolutely demands that you use it. Which, you know what? Okay, fair. Maybe they want to make it so that you can beat the game in multiple ways, but again, it really gets down to the point where the way to get things over with quickest is, well, you know, just the mundane solution, which means that when there's a situation that calls for that mechanic that you may have forgotten about...
Oh boy, we're almost there.
You've forgotten about it.
Alright, speaking of idiot plot, here's our first contestant for the You're a Dumbass show, Sir Perceveal, in a moment, the moment we find him. We're about to find him.
Hooray.
We lost multiple gas cells. The ship
Shit.
is uncontrollable.
Yet he won't leave. He's almost as stubborn as you are.
Marquis, abandon ship. Degrade, if you have to. Knock him unconscious and drag him to...
Why is Lafayette refusing to evacuate? What does he even gain from doing that? I don't get that.
Perhaps... Okay, again, I'll say this. When I first saw this in the plot, I thought, oh, this is foreshadowing. Like, maybe the Marquis is working with the rebels secretly because he still hates the British.
Nope.
Nope.
It feels like conflict for the sake of conflict. Like, and for the record, that bit about Lafayette supposedly not wanting to leave never gets brought up again. So I have no fucking clue why they even put that in the script.
Maybe they wanted
oh, here we go.
Galahad!
Shoot him?
Yeah?
There's no time,
What?
Percival. We have to stop.
Yeah, we have to
Trust
sell him,
me,
Percival.
Grayson.
Trust you with what? You've been sketchy this whole game.
Stand down. You have no idea who you're dealing with. We are
Also
not
high
enemies.
low mental.
Then prove it. Stop this madness. No. Not as long as the company is allowed to carry on unobstructed. They won't. We'll see to it.
How exactly are you going to fulfill that promise, Percival?
Friend. You don't have
Or Sebastian, if you want me to use your real name. Oh, shit. There you go.
Sure. Well, you know, not shooting that guy was clearly the right idea.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Percival is dead out of his own idiocy. Like, what did you think was going to happen, you idiot?
I do wonder if they were going to do the whole you see, because we don't really see the body, we were gonna survive and see in the sequel that he got fine and wanted to stay undercover or some shit.
But no, that's not what they do. We're about to see the body for ourselves.
Like, okay, I thought maybe they're going with, well, don't you see, the rebels truly are good guys, and they're just as
Chapter
desperate
6, in the Darkest Tower. That begs the question, though, Teo. If Galahad survived this, how come Percival didn't?
Maybe the...
Okay, basically, while you were out, Percival, aka Sebastian, was an idiot and tried to reason with the rebels. You know, the rebels who planted a fucking bomb in the fucking... Yeah, so, and as a result, the bomb exploded because he was being an idiot trying to reason with him instead of just, you know, taking him hostage and just defusing the bomb. So Galahad fortunately survived. Why the hell Sebastian died? I have no because remember both of them are eternal knights with the black water thing that gives them healing abilities and keeps them alive. So you'd think if Galahad survived this, Sebastian would probably also survive this. But
if I may, let me ask.
Just allergic to explosions.
Let me ask something. Why now does Perceval want to spare the enemy? Keep in mind, Perceval had been on something of a silent warpath going after these rebels. Again, I mean, Hastings, Lucan literally points out all the destruction we've caused in trying to get these rebels, so why all of a sudden now is Perceval like, no, man, we gotta do it the right way?
There he is. Or not. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind. Wrong body.
Seriously,
it's like in Titanic, the ship goes on.
Yeah.
Put it back.
But no, seriously though, I ask, why now does Perceval want to do things the peaceful way when, again, he has been encouraging all the violence we've been doing up to this point? What, did he bang his head and suddenly go, actually,
the game?
I want to try and solve
I can
this
imagine
peacefully.
he wanted to extort more information, potentially.
That's the thing, like, there's a fan theory, but I can't talk about it yet because it would involve me spoiling something. So I'll talk about the fan theory later.
That being said, though, again, there are just so many ways we could divulge why that scene was stupid.
It was stupid.
Don't try it more than anything, you know. Like, in order to make the plot point come across, the characters and plots are forced into a cul-de-sac that makes everything look like idiocy.
Yeah.
Let me put it like this. You could have done this without having Perceval suddenly decide, oh yeah, no, the terrorists who have been bombing all this stuff will
doing that
totally
on the
listen now.
suspending bridge.
Yeah, and here's exactly where the writing really shows its failings. There you go. Sebastian is, and remember, Sebastian was Galahad's mentor.
This is the Obi-Wan is dead moment.
This is supposed to be the Obi-Wan is dead moment of this of the story, and it resonates with all the intensity of a fucking rock.
Hey, Galahad, do you want to try feeding him some of your potions like you did to a grain that one time?
Debs, considering the character design they went with for Galahad, and not to mention the kind of performance that the actor gives, I can if this was adapted into a live action movie, I can see Pierce Brosnan playing Galahad.
He's a bit too old for that.
Yeah, he's a bit too old for that, but if he wasn't, he would be a perfect pick for Galahad. Sure, but again, I guess.
So since you were mentioning the Obi-Wan bit, how sad is it that in terms of reflecting, in terms of trying to cope with Obi-Wan's death, that bit lasted like 10 times shorter than this one, and yet that one has more impact.
That's because we actually got to know the character. Sebastian is
better writing and pacing.
Yeah. All right. So, and now here's the thing. So that was it. That was chapter 7, the Darkest Hour. Now let's go for the next chapter. Yeah, the game is about to basically shotgun chapters at us. Like there are certain chapters in this game that are just one cutscene and that's it.
So I just ask again, Galahad, you didn't even try to feed him the potion. You just assumed, he's dead, can't try it.
Blackwater, but yeah.
My condolences. Sir Perceval was a great man. The best of us.
I'm sure he was. The story did not do the best job of
He
showing
died-
it, but
he-
I'm sure he was a great man.
He died as you lived, a complete
He's
idiot.
personal objects, if I recall correctly. That's one revolver, damn.
Yep.
He even had a whiskey bottle.
Yeah, that kind of revolver is actually usable in the game itself. So, not for nothing, Ryu, the director and lead writer, is this really the right time to have us look at this at an object? I mean, this is supposed to be the super sad Darkest Hour part of the story. Is this really the right time for a collectible inspection?
I get the idea what the thoughts behind this, but Galahad seems to understand that Perceveal knew something or something or someone, and wanted to check out if there was something that could give him a clue or at the very least have a keepsake like he did with the pocket watch.
I'll give him credit, at least for this scene, Lucan knows not to be a douche for once.
No. It's not Lucan who's going to be the douche. It's his father, the Lord Chancellor, as you're about to see.
They get Tom. Okay, did they get Tim Hiddleston to
Tom
voice
Hiddleston.
Lucan? He's Tom Hiddleston to voice Lucan. He sounds like him.
No, there's no celebrity voices. It's all British voice actors.
Let me check.
I mean, Laura Bailey is in the game, but only as an additional voice actor. And remember, as we saw in Miracle Mask, she can do a British accent. So. And like Theo noticed, that rebel from earlier was played by Yuri Lowenthal. So basically,
there's also a bit of recycling.
There's American voice actors, but fortunately they're all in the additional voice actors bit. Like the actual characters, at least from what I can gather, they seem like they're either British or they can handle a British accent at least.
We did check on some of them in the first part.
Yeah.
Doesn't Yuri Lowenthal also voice Nikola Tesla?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, to be fair, he can also do a British accent as demonstrated in Lost Future. So.
Well, again, to be fair,
Chapter 7, the Knighthood.
To be fair, Tesla's an American. So
all right, you want a character acting like an asshole, Jova? Take a look at this.
Saw entire kingdoms perish, and others equally transitory take their.
But he was a fucking idiot, a good written spy.
Actually, that's pretty much what the Lord Chancellor is about to say. Actually.
Oh, this ought to be neat.
To all these things he bore witness, because he was blessed by this. The Grail.
I know you all already know this, but I'm going to exposit this for the sake of the audience.
There you go, that's where they explain it.
Yeah.
The Grail.
That being said, come on, can't you find out a more natural way to explain that rather than explaining it to a room full of people who already know this?
Okay, to be fair, funeral proceedings, so
I
perhaps
guess.
it's protocol to give the speech. Oh, I think. Okay, it's a weird way he words it. He says it cannot grant immortality, except it technically does. You guys have lived pretty long.
Well, no, that's the thing.
That in some ways.
I can help you there, Jova.
Okay. I get what he means, like, it can't prevent you from being killed or whatnot, but... Okay, the terms of immortality tend to be a bit weird in that regard. Like, there is the immortality that just allows you to live as long as you can without getting killed.
Yeah.
But then there's the bouts where there's this or that.
Okay,
anyway,
so go on.
So I guess Marquis Lafayette is getting the title.
Yeah,
of
he's becoming the new Sir Perceval, yes. Which is weird because it's weird to. I mean, maybe these are very forward-thinking knights, but yeah, naming a Frenchman as one of the Knights of the Round Table.
There needs to be an order, acting as, of their own. They just so happen to be, having started in the country of Britain.
And like I mentioned, Lancelot was technically French too before joining the Knights
I
of the
guess,
Round
sure.
Table, so.
Yeah. Which reminds me, actually, we have Sir Galahad, we have Sir Lady Igraine, we have now Sir Perceval, this guy. Who's Sir Lancelot? And surprisingly, we don't actually meet whoever has the title of Lancelot in this order.
I am a bit perplexed that they didn't include some of the bigger name knights like Lancelot, Gawain, Tristan.
They were saving them for a sequel.
Probably.
Potentially.
Not even Kay or Arthur. Again, maybe we can assume.
I think the Lord Chancellor is supposed to stand for Arthur.
I forget if they ever call him by the title of Arthur, though. So
no, they just call him Lord Chancellor.
Ouch.
Basically, apparently the black water has to be mixed with his blood.
The blood of the user, yeah.
Always use it wisely.
I guess that primes the black water to work with it, except they have to refill it anyway later.
Well, to be fair, I guess the Holy Grail is magical and just constantly respawning water, so...
Oh yeah, definitely. What I meant is like, they have to refill their little capsule things.
Hey, Lord Chancellor, I need a refill. Okay, come here. Alright. All right, now it's time.
That's very sad.
All right, now it's time for the meeting, Dwiz, and this is the part where he actually kind of does what you said it was.
Remove Sebastian Mallory's body from the council chamber and take him to the
Okay,
crypt.
after this bit, yeah. So time to. All right, so after the funeral, time for the council meeting. Let's see what the Lord Chancellor has to say.
The man was a fucking idiot.
Kind of.
This council is now called to order.
Okay.
All right.
Let the
Okay,
terrible tragedy which
official-
has
officially
befallen
stuff.
us serve as a warning to those who would defy the mandates of this office. The late Sebastian Mallory did not perish in the fight against the half-breeds. No. He died a victim of his own heedless enterprise.
There you go. See, Dwiz?
Of those sworn
That's kind of what he's saying.
of duty and sacrifice. And to what purpose?
Lord Chancellor, I must have...
Public buildings destroyed. Innocent citizens placed at risk. Incalculable damage done to United India Company property. It is only by the mercy of Providence that an even greater disaster was avoided. All this while not a single rebel was
Technically,
taken
we
into custody.
did save Hastings from being murdered by the
By
rebels.
heroic actions, the knights in question may have done the enemy a great service.
The Lord Chancellor perhaps speaks too harshly. He would do
Thank
well
you.
to remember that Sir Perceval's force did uncover evidence of a rebel effort against the...
Circumstantial evidence. Mere supposition, always
You know,
results
again,
in a
I
deplorable
I kind of get where they're going with this, but I kind of had to raise my eyebrow at the fact that Lucan, who read Perceval the riot back at the airship, is now suddenly speaking in his defense. Like, huh?
You do great wrong to sully his name in such a manner.
You dance on the very edge of insubordination.
He's selling his own name.
I am apprehensive of my responsibility in this affair. Yet if the same
I
circumstances
get it.
should
This is
present
supposed to be a
themselves,
deep-seated
I would do
argument,
exactly
but
as
my god, the thing is, Perceval was an idiot. Okay, as far as we know, plot-wise.
Uh-oh.
My lords! Sirs! The rebels have ambushed Lord Hastings' carriage. He and his
God
escort got trapped on the Westminster
damn
Bridge.
All right. To the Westminster Bridge.
Oh, so now it's okay to go after the rebels.
Well, it's more of an emergency.
Well, this is an actual emergency. They have to save Lord Hastings, to be
Oh,
fair.
true. It's just that I love how this guy was chewing out Perceval, despite the fact that Perceval did hatch a plan that ended up
Fuck
saving
off.
Hastings' life.
Seriously, this asshole is such a jerk for no good reason.
And like I said, my dude, it's like he says, "Oh, Hastings was
Oh,
an
chapter
idiot for
8,
going after
Under
the-"
Siege. So chapter 7 lasted a total of, what, a minute and a half?
Yeah, but no, it's like, I get it. They're trying to show up the hypocrisy, but no, this just feels stupid. Again, the commander is chewing him out for going after the rebels, but now let's go after the rebels. And mind you, in both cases, the rebels were going after Hastings, so again, like, it just feels pointless to have him chew him out for that.
And
I get it. It's to put conflict up, but it is not earned.
Anyway, to mention, the Lord Chancellor, the bearded idiot guy, is voiced by Paul Gregory, which seems to be mostly noticeable for doing a couple of movies, but mostly appearing consistently in one episode of a bunch of TV series ever since I think the 70s. I think. So he has a or I think the 60s.
He's a veteran actor, basically.
Instead, Lord Lucan is voiced by Matthew Watterson, who has been done video games recently. He was the voice of the Doomslayer in the recent Doom games. But also was in stuff like Horizon Forbidden West, the Castlevania Netflix series, and so on.
I will say, yes, yeah. Speaking of the actors, no, I will. The ones that I'm probably also feel sad for is the acting, because the acting is generally, the actors are trying their hardest to sell this shit to you.
Definitely.
I particularly like the guy playing Sir Galahad.
Steve West.
Yeah. So yeah,
Did any of these actors
it's
really go on to greener pastures?
Jova. A lot of these, believe it or not, Jova, a lot of these actually voiced in Tactics Ogre Reborn.
Yeah, they're still.
Which, in case you forgot, sorry, go on.
They're still voice acting to this day.
Go on, Tio.
If you forgot, Jova, that game did not really have much of a voice acting aside of one woman giving a narration in the PSP remake, but the version of Square Enix put out recently actually has, if I recall correctly, almost everything, at least from its main characters, completely voice acted, and it's a British cast, so we brought back a couple of these people for that.
And Galahad died, and that was the order in 1886. Everybody.
Oh, great. Now who are we going to get to succeed him?
Oh, come on, you could have ended the park there.
True. Go on.
The Lady Igraine is voiced by Alice Coulthard, which became a sort of a veteran for Ready at Dawn because she voiced a character in the Lone Echo games. And after this, she appeared also in a couple of TV series called like The Last Ship. She was also in one episode of Casualty, lives. But she's relatively newcomer in terms of acting and voice acting.
Mm-hmm. That's the primary thing. The fact that the actors are trying their freaking hardest to make this script work, and it doesn't really. And again, they deliver the lines. While the lines are bad and idiotic, they're definitely delivered with conviction by the actors. So I will give kudos to that.
I'll do in the next part.
Indeed. Well, everybody, tune in next time where now it's Sir Galahad's time to play the You're a Dumbass game. We're gonna go for all the characters. They're all going to have their own turn in the You're a Dumbass game. See you then.
See ya.
Mm-hmm.